Good morning. We're going to tie a Winter's Hope this morning. We're going to do this on the new Pro Tube system, and we'll talk a little bit that as we go through the fly. What I have here is a Pro Tube 4040. I've cut the back a little bit on the Pro Tube needle. Just slide that on there firmly. That'll keep it from spinning. Get your thread started. I'm going to use a little Lagerton holographic silver here. This is the mini flat braid.
And that Pro Tube has the junction tube already built into it.
Yeah, it's all one piece, so you don't have to mess around anymore with building your tubes. And because you're not building your tubes and they're integrated, you do not have the bulkier bodies. You can get your bodies down to a slender size. Very durable. They actually tested these tubes by freezing them and then smashing them with a hammer to see how durable they could get the plastic mix. And they're super durable. They'll take cold water and then beating them off of rocks and stuff, so anymore. So what I've done now is I've taken a little bit of dubbing wax, made a loop of thread, and I'm going to use some angel hair that I've already pre-cut. I'm going to lay this in this loop. And I'm going to spread it out. Make sure you keep the fibers going one direction, perpendicular to your loop line, and you spin it. This makes a brilliant flash and hackle for this fly. Normally this fly is tied with a blue hackle and then a purple hackle, and I just decided that I wanted to flash it up a little bit.
So using that spinning loop tool or dubbing twister tool that you use there, it's a heavy tool, and you just spun it until it stopped, or how did you know when you were done?
You'll start to see the thread almost double up on itself. It gets to the point, and it will break the thread if you twist it way too tight, but it has the dubbing wax. You want a sticky wax that holds the material in the thread, and then you have the spin that finishes the securing of it. So now we've got that in there. Arctic foxes, these Scandinavian style of wings just really move in the water, and you want to kind of grab about mid-length and comb out some of that under hair, and try to keep your wings fairly sparse. You make them too bulky, they're not going to move as much as you want them to. Grab the end, pull a little bit of the guard hair out, lay that to the length I think I want. Cut it flat, tie it in.
Well, it seems like with these tubes or Waddingtons or either way, it's real easy to get too much material.
Real easy. You just keep those wings sparse, and they'll move a lot better for you. And the nice thing about the Arctic fox, it has the sheen of kind of like polar bear did. I've already prepped this feather. I take and pull the fibers back, strip off some of the fuzz up front, and snip it here, and I tie the tip in first. And we're going to tie this collar style, which means I'm going to pull back these fibers. Doing these staged hackles like this helps that wing stand up a little bit too, so it has dual purpose. Next we're going to put a little yellow in there and thin it down to where I think it needs to be. And as you tie these wings in, you stage them longer to get that nice taper to them. Now I'm going to put a little bit of flash in here. This is some UV, I think they call it minnow belly, but it's UV crystal flash. 2 to 3 strands, tie it in, get it centered over the wing, fold it back over. I like to cut it at an angle and stage it out a little bit. And you can use saddle hackle or schlappen, whatever your preference. If you like a longer hackle, then go for the schlappen. I'm just stroking that hackle to get it to lay back properly. Figure out my length again. Now that I'm getting close to the head, you can see I've got a little bit of material sticking out there. This is where a good razor blade comes in, and you just lay it right at the base of your thread and push. And it just removes that excess material there, because when you slide your cone over, or if you don't want to put a cone on, you want a nice clean head, that'll just give you a nice clean head there. So you can see I put my crystal in now, and then I would have basically almost a finished fly. I just have to, make a few more wraps and put my whip finish on. So I'm going to take 3 more strands. This is fluorescent orange crystal flash. Lay it on top, make a wrap, get it secured, bring the other piece over. Trim that to where I want it, clean up some of these other fibers that are possibly in the way. And then basically you are done. So now you've got the fly tied, you got to add the cone and get everything trimmed to length. Zap-A-Gap. This stuff is awesome for this. I'm going to coat those threads. I've got my cone already picked out. This is a Pro Tube cone. It's silver. They come in a variety of colors, so you can choose whatever you like. That's a 10 millimeter.
But in terms of it fitting on the tube, that's the key is that regardless of size, it fits on the tube.
Yeah, it does. When the size is just the diameter of the cone itself, not the diameter of the hole.
Right.
The holes are all standardized to fit this product, this tube. So now I just take this cone and slide it over, snug it up there, and the fly is essentially done. So now you've got your winter's hope done. Next, I'm going to push this off of here, and this can be a little bit of a bugger if you really snug it on there. And this is the key part. When you go to trim that tube, trim it so it leaves just a nubbin sticking out. Okay? 32nd of an inch maybe, 16th. You can experiment, and then you use the blue part of the flame, and you just heat that, and just keep touching it until it melts back down flush with the cone. Done. Now you've got the hole there, the cone is secured by that little ring of plastic, plus you've got the glue underneath, and that's your winter's hope. All you have to do, the last thing, is trim this to length.
That junction.
Your junction. And then you can slide your hook in there.